I think that I'm pretty proud of the message. I think that we had a really good message about what we were trying to do and what we were trying to accomplish. And I'm really proud about that message. I wanted it just to be the truth so that when we were all said and done, didn't matter, here were the facts on the table. And I just think that's really important. So I'm most proud of that.
Today, I'm pleased to welcome Fennell Norton back to You Can't Beat Blue. You may remember Fennell was a candidate for Virginia House of Delegates District 100. Thank you for joining us again, Fennell. We're so glad you're here.
Thank you for having me.
Well, first of all, I just want to ask, did you have fun when you were out there campaigning?
I did. I had a lot of fun. I met people. I got to experience new things. I got to also feel what hope really feels like when you are in the midst of it and folks are so hopeful about what they think their futures can be. And I think that was the most important piece for me, was this renewed sense of what hope really feels like when you're in the middle of it.
What do Virginia Democrats need to do to win next time?
So this is something that I think is really important. And it is this, no matter where you are, people are not monolithic. They are all different. And I don't think that one thing works for everybody. And so I do think that there's an opportunity to be more cohesive in terms of messaging, which means that you share information. I think the messaging has to be right from the top to the bottom. And then think about that each area is not the same, and be focused on what's going to pull out the maximum number of voters that you need to win at the top of the ticket and hold on to the places that you need to. You can't just say, well, this is the way that it's been for the last 50 years. If you know that it's been that way for the last 50 years, then what I want to understand is the tactics and the strategy that you have to overcome it. And that strategy should be clear to everyone all the way down the ticket. And then listen to the ground. When they're giving you information and telling you something, you listen to it. The folks who are on the ground, the front line, are usually your very best sources of information.
What would November 2021 Fennell say to March 2021 Fennell? What advice would she have for her?
She would tell her that it's going to be okay. And she would tell her just to stand up for the things that you know are right. And don't let people tell you what you can and can't do. And because there are things that folks will say, oh, you can't do that, or you shouldn't do that. But trust your gut and trust your instinct, because you're on the right path.
You know, I can speak for myself when I say your messaging definitely resonated with me. I felt it. I felt your passion. It came across as authentic. So you should be proud of that. Is there an upside to the outcome?
I think there is. I learned a lot. I'm not going to consider myself this expert, but I did follow politics and campaigns closely, not because I imagined being in them, but because I was so interested. And what I found is the more information I got, the more frightened I got. So there were three things that I think that I walk away from this campaign with in terms of how we move forward. And it's education, engagement, and empathy. Education, because there's so much that people just don't know. And that if you want folks to really be part of a campaign and engage in it, they have to be educated about the process and the issues and what it means for them personally. I think in terms of engagement, it is more than just getting out there and voting. There are other things that you can do. If it's a sign, if it's making a phone call. I mean, there are easy things you can do that may not be volunteering, but there are things within your family. And I often said that part of this had to be about changing the conversation. And what I meant by that is, if it's a family reunion, if it's a birthday party, no matter what it is, what kind of family event it is, that it starts right there and changing that conversation, if it's just for 5 minutes to talk about an issue or how your family is going to engage in this big world that we live in, because all the issues impact us all. And then just in terms of empathy, if you don't have empathy for the people that are around you, to be able to understand them, to be able to understand what they're going through, what their issues are, and to try to feel it just a little bit, then we're not going to move forward.
What would you say you enjoyed more? Would it be volunteering for a campaign or running for office?
So here's what I think, that I will be a much better volunteer after running for office. And so because they're sort of the same, but not. There are things that you experience when you're running that is not the same as when you're volunteering. But I think that the things that I learned through that experience will make me a much more effective volunteer, because I know exactly what the candidate needs.
Can you give us an example of what that would be?
Mhm. And so part of it is the messaging. So once you get to know the person, you understand the messaging and you are invested in a different kind of way. And so I think that from having this experience as a candidate, I know that the next person that I support, the next volunteer event that I participate in, there is a different kind of investment that you have because you know what they need.
That's such a good point. What would you say you're most proud of?
I think that I'm pretty proud of the message. I think that we had a really good message about what we were trying to do and what we were trying to accomplish, so that when we were all said and done, didn't matter. Here were the facts on the table. And I just think that's really important. So I'm most proud of that.
Well, Fennell, thank you for your service to the Commonwealth of Virginia and to democracy. I'm so grateful for you. And thank you for taking time to talk to me today.
It was my pleasure.